Hi, everybody. I am jumping on a minute early so that maybe some people will start joining. I'm Allison, your self-sabotage coach. So excited for tonight. Can't wait. Does not seem real, actually. But I'm very, very excited. So I hope we can get a lot of viewers tonight. I noticed my story was getting censored. I had very little traction on my story that I put on Instagram a couple of times to advertise and promote this. So definitely getting censored. Hey, how are you? Thank you for watching. Hey, do you know who I'm getting on here tonight? Do you know who the big guest is? It's Flat Earth Dave. Flat Earth Dave is coming on. I'm so excited. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I cannot wait. I've been watching video after video. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing great too. I hope we get some people to join. Hey, Brian. Thanks for joining. I'm so excited for Flat Earth Dave to come on. It doesn't even seem real. I've listened to a lot of his interviews, but he's done over 1,300 different, I think, podcasts. So that's a lot. So now 1,301. Well, it might be a rough number, but that's a lot. And now I'm included in that. Very excited. So I don't know if Dave... Oh, there he is. All right. I am going to invite Dave on. All right. I just invited Dave. I hope. Did that work? There he
There
is.
I am.
Hi.
What's going on?
Hey, Dave. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing all right. What's happening? My first Instagram live ever. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's amazing.
How
All right.
do I need headphones? Am I
No,
good?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so happy that people are coming on. I tried to advertise this and it got such a low count of people viewing it on my story. There just must be major censorship for the words flat earth, I think.
Or
But
David Weiss.
I didn't say your last name, but I don't know how
Yeah.
you get this stuff on YouTube. Like I see how is that even staying on there? Different interviews you've done and they're on YouTube. I don't
They
even know
let
how.
it stay. They just don't promote it. They hide it. Like you can
Oh,
search. But because I'm going on so many different channels, the algorithm's all screwed up. So you can actually find some of my interviews, but normally if you search David Weiss, they'll give you Professor Dave, and they'll give you stuff, debunking videos totally unrelated to me.
yep.
Um, and
Okay.
it's all crazy nonsense.
So it's there, but it's really hard to find,
It is.
is
That's
what
why I
it
tell
is.
everyone to go to flatearthdave.com. All my links are there. All the videos are linked there. Everything's there.
Yeah, it's a really well done, well organized website, and it's visually appealing too. I,
Thank you.
I enjoy it. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Well, I want to welcome you. Um, Thank you so much for being here. Excited. I see a lot of people coming on. So
All right.
yeah, I'll introduce you then. So David Weiss is an entrepreneur who made the bold decision to step away from his highly successful business to dedicate his life to what he believes is a more important mission, unveiling the truth about our world. He is the host of the Flat Earth podcast and the creator of the extremely popular Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. With a talent for turning skeptics into curious truth seekers, David has an extraordinary ability to engage those who might initially ridicule or dismiss the idea of flat Earth. He is so confident in his ability to demonstrate that the Earth is a flat, non-rotating level plane that he offers a 3 Bitcoin reward to anyone who, after his presentation, can provide just one proof that the Earth is a globe. Through thoughtful discourse and compelling arguments, he challenges the mainstream narrative of a spinning, wobbling, and orbiting planet in an infinite vacuum, inviting others to explore alternative perspectives and question long-held beliefs. David's work has sparked interest and debate among those open to considering that there may be more credible explanations about the true nature of our reality and the creator who put us here. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks.
Yeah, so excited. I found you about a year and a half ago, actually. I didn't have Instagram then. I just had Facebook. I don't even know how. Somehow I found you, and I don't think I'd run across much about flat Earth at that point. But all my mind became wide open to everything 4 years ago. Everything. Like, nothing's off the table. As a matter of fact, the less I've heard about it, the more I want to hear about it, because it's, you know what I mean? Like, they're hiding stuff. If you're not really hearing much about it and it makes a little bit of sense, then I should probably know more.
You know, people used to say to me, I was doing a podcast out of New York City, out of Stand Up New York. It was a conspiracy mixed with a little comedy, because you got to laugh. And we were looking into all of the big conspiracies, you know, New York event, the Boston event, the Connecticut school,
Yes.
right? And all this stuff. And then Flat Earth came up, and I kind of we all have the same story. You just foo-fooed it. I came up with ban for life. I just banned anyone that even suggested that I watch a video. And then I looked, you know, and then I realized that, you know, I've done 1,300 interviews since 2021, and people like, Dave, with all the crap going on in the world, why is it just flat Earth that interests you? And it's because this is the foundation of all the lies. If you can convince people that they're spinning, you know, on a lumpy rock with pressurized air adjacent to a space vacuum, you can convince them that if they breathe on grandma, she's going to die, and a million other things. So this is the one that unlocks all your minds. You know, I used to have a thing called Exposing the Big Three, the three events I mentioned: New York, Connecticut, and Boston. I don't want to say them. I don't know what they're allowed to say on this platform.
Yeah.
And I figured you wake people up to these clearly, obviously faked, hoaxed, false flags, and they would wake up and see the world. But even if you woke them up to that, they go right back to sleep. They're like, you know, well, you know, they make excuses, and that's not gonna change much. But you wake someone up to flat Earth, there's no going back to sleep. Nobody leaves flat Earth. Now the Globers will say, "Oh, yes, that's true. I used to be a flat earther." Baloney. Or flat earthers will never discuss the sunset. That's my favorite thing to discuss. Right? Flat earthers will never discuss why a ship goes from the bottom up. Absolutely, we discuss. We just did a whole Globebusters on it this Sunday.
Yeah.
And you know, Dave offers his 3 Bitcoins, but people have given him proofs, and he won't pay. What proof? Show me. There's no proof. There is none, because the Earth is not a globe.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Did you say you were doing stand-up?
no. So
I was like, I could actually see you doing that. Because
well,
you're a funny guy.
The heliocentric model and NASA is a comedy show in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can the material writes itself. But I'll give you the short story real quick. My buddy Tim and I were looking into conspiracies. We worked at a big solar company. We were working for a company in the corporate structure. And every day at lunch, in the lunchroom, we were talking about different conspiracies, you know, Federal Reserve, the IRS, and more people started gathering around. They would be waiting for us to come in the lunchroom. There was like, you know, there'd be a crowd of people
That's
just
funny.
to listen to us, the things that, the theories, right? You mean the actual thoughts that we were coming up with. And then one day, Tim goes to me, he goes, "Hey, Dave, there's a new podcast studio opening up out of the Stand Up New York Comedy Club. And there's an opening if we can mix comedy with it. My friend Mike, who's a comedian, will be the two truth seekers, and then he'll try to turn everything into a fart joke, right?" And I'm like, "What's a podcast?" Right? I
Yeah.
didn't even know. He's like, "It's a
Yeah.
recorded radio show." I was like, "Okay." So we did it for 3 years, and it was huge. It went, you know, it was very big podcast. And then in the third year, I started bringing Flat Earth into it, and the entire thing just blew up. And that's when I started the Flat Earth podcast after that.
Meaning blew up, got popular?
No, no,
No,
no. It blew
or
up is when
oh,
everyone's heads exploded. They couldn't
oh,
handle
no one
it.
could handle it. That's what I,
Nobody could
yeah,
handle it, you
that makes
know?
more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. You're discredited after that. Like, yeah.
Well, it
Huh.
wasn't just, it was, I didn't want to bring Flat Earth into it because I was like, we're going to lose all of our audience because people are going to think it's discrediting all of the work that we've done. But then I'm like, wait a minute, it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. I can't keep it quiet. And
Yep.
but
That's what I
we
like
went
about
for
you.
3 years. Now listen, I commuted. It's an hour trip into the city. I hate going to. I have a rule: never go into New York
Mm,
City. I had to go in there every other week to record 2 shows, right? And yeah, I did that for 3 years. So it kind of just ran its course.
yeah. But I'm glad you're doing that because I've been told by people don't talk about certain things or like my self-sabotage coaching business that I'm going to lose potential clients or and I'm at the point in my life where I'm just like then maybe this isn't the place for you. Maybe another place is better for you. But I
You,
don't want to censor
you
myself
know
anymore. I
what they
don't.
used to say? They used to say, oh, the flat earther, good luck getting a job. Good luck, no one's ever going to hire you. This is my app.
Yeah.
These are the people in the United States that have my app, okay? These are flat earthers, right? We're
Yep.
taking over. Nobody leaves flat earth. And now on the app with the profile section, you can search like, hey, I need solar power in my house. I'm in Florida. So you type in solar power Florida and you're going to find somebody that's on the app, a flat earther, a smart person, that does solar power in Florida. And then like we don't want to work with you Globers. We want to work together. So we're kind
Right.
of becoming like our own secret society, but we're not. We're just a group of like-minded people. Here's the thing. Let's say you needed to hire an assistant and you had 10 applicants and they were all pretty equally qualified. And one of them was maybe just a little less experienced, but he was the only flat earther. Which one are you hiring?
Yeah. Probably the flat earther.
Because that person is able to think and take himself out of programming. That's who you want.
Right.
So that's how we look at it. That's how I look at it.
And that's exactly why all the other people look at us and go, we, they throw us away, like because they're all the same, all the
Yeah.
normies, like, ooh, that guy's a weirdo, but not really.
Well,
You're just thinking for
it
yourself.
it's there's people that think flat Earth is stupid and have never looked into it, and
All
they
right.
defend the globe. And you say, okay, let me ask you some questions about the globe before you ask me about flat Earth, because they think flat Earth is a pizza floating in heliocentric space. Um, you say, what's the circumference of your Earth? What's the diameter? How far is it from the sun? How do they figure that out? How far is the sun? How fast are we orbiting? They don't know any of those questions, but still they defend it like it's their ego because
Yeah.
we're taught that the Earth is a globe before we can talk. I mean, the cartoons that we watch, the books that are read to us, our sheets, our NASA sheets, and our mobiles are planets. And the teacher every room has a globe in it. Has a globe. There's globes in everything.
Yep.
So yeah, I love pointing out globes whenever you're watching TV. Globe, globe,
Me
globe,
too.
globe. Yeah,
I
yeah.
started looking for that too.
It's
Propaganda.
everywhere.
It
It's
is in
everywhere.
many movies. It's in strange places sometimes where you wouldn't even.
Everywhere.
I was watching an old movie and there was a globe in a yard sale.
What?
It was a Goldie Hawn and
Yeah.
Steve Martin movie, 90s movie, House
In
Sitter,
that.
and
In
there's a globe in the yard sale. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah. I was going to read. This is just a little blurb, but I did a video not that long ago about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Just pretty much talking to myself that day. I didn't
Yep.
have any viewers, but the last line of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, there's this narrator, the criminologist who narrates the story, says the human race is nothing more than insects crawling on the planet's surface, lost in time, lost in space. That's pretty depressing, but that's what they want us to think.
That's what they want us to feel. They want to
Yeah.
separate us from creation. And, the heavens above are a non physical realm, which I look at as God's mind, as you know, um, God's throne, if you will. Um, and they want to turn it into physicality. They want to say, oh, these are planets and there's aliens up there, and there's, we go up there and we float around and we play with things and space stations, and we land and fly helicopters on other planets. They're literally, perverting God's heavens above. And they want us to think that, oh, we're just a speck and there's billions and trillions of other specks everywhere else and we're insignificant. And that's how they take away your power.
Yeah. Yes. And I remember being in school, like in third grade, with the whole Challenger space shuttle, when that all happened. And they were also teaching us that they said by the time I was my parents' age, we would all be living and working in space. That most of us would be, and I'm like, that went by a long time ago. That's never happened.
Space and tourism in space. Now the latest thing is they're going to take people up on a balloon in a capsule, in a luxury capsule, right? Well, if it's even real, first the windows are all curved, so everyone's going to see Earth curve. Mm-hmm. If they go up 100,000 feet, whatever, it's going to be curved because they're looking through a big curved, windows.
Right.
But I don't even know if that's even real. I mean, the logistics of that and the wind currents up there, and it doesn't make any sense.
It's hard to know what is real anymore, but yeah. I don't know.
I was always asked Dave, everything can't be a conspiracy. Can you tell me one big event that's not a conspiracy? And the only thing I used to be able to come up with was Sully landed that plane on the Hudson River after the bird strike. Then I found out that wasn't even true.
About it, so
that wasn't even true. It wasn't true. And there used to
happened?
Or
nothing happened.
I don't know what happened, but there used to be a video before the YouTube apocalypse where they deleted everything, of a tugboat pulling a plane covered in a tarp into position, and then taking the tarp off and then putting people on the plane, on the wing, for it to be filmed on that, and it was actually filmed like a day or two before, I'm not sure how many days before, but and there was a couple other things about the whole event, but now you just can't even find that information anymore. Most of the events that I covered are archived on stoplookthink.com. From 9/11 to stoplookthink.com.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, everything, okay. Including the most recent, let's call it the ear piercing. Okay, the ear piercing of the Trump.
Oh, that. I was like, what? I thought you were okay. I can't believe anyone would believe that.
It's so
oh my gosh.
Stupid. There's so many truthers that have fallen for it that think, oh, they really tried to kill him. I don't want to. It's so bad.
Really bad.
It's so bad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What else was I gonna? I have all these notes everywhere. But I was listening to a ton of your different interviews. Because some people here might totally believe this. Some people might be on the fence. Some people might have really heard nothing about it until now, possibly, or very little. But what about? Can you talk about like all the 666 symbolism that's used to in the globe model?
Yeah. So there's so much. It's all satanic. I have a little list right here. It says the Earth axis is orbital, as the orbital inclination around the sun is 66.6 degrees. The Earth's orbit to the sun is 66,600 miles per hour. Its circumference is 600 times 6 times 6 nautical miles. The speed of sound is 666 knots per second. The force of gravity on Earth is 666 newtons. The Arctic and Antarctic circles are exactly 66.6 degrees north and south. Astronaut Peggy Whitson spent 666 days in space. The distance to the moon is 6 times 60 times 666 miles. The diameter of the moon is 6 times 6 times 60. It goes on and on. It just goes on and on. There's so many 666s. It's kind of weird. Yeah. It's just kind of weird.
It would all have to be a coincidence.
Yeah, and if you look
just
at
a big coincidence.
Space Force, look at their logo. When you flip it upside down, it's literally Baphomet.
I'm so glad you have all your stuff to show.
Well,
because you need
all of this is on the app. I just typed in 666 on the app in the images section, and all of this comes up. It's it's amazing. It's just there's all sorts of stuff in here.
Yep. That's and what was that other thing? When you turn it upside down, it looks like the goat horns, what you
There,
just had there.
there's so many. I mean, when they show us an eclipse, it's this sigil of Satan. With the it's just it's too many weird things. I go over much of this in my interviews,
Yeah.
but
I,
NASA, not a space agency. No one's ever been to space. They get, I think it's $75 million a day now. And what do they do? What have they done for you? They're going to save humanity. We're going to go to Mars and terraform it because Earth is going to be so bad. Wait a minute. Earth is here. We have air and water here. Why don't we just go to Ethiopia and build domes there instead of on Mars? It'd be a lot easier. Supply chain, it'd be a lot easier to get people there. It's so dumb to think that we're going to go to another planet when that's not, they're not even real.
and I like some of that stuff. I know you can't show it, but the NASA stuff that if you look is ridiculous, where they're faking everything. And
Right.
um,
On on the more resources page, there's a NASA nonsense section, and when you click that, there's tons and tons and tons of videos of just all the stuff that they're caught faking.
and it's not a mistake. I mean, I know sometimes people will be like, well, how could they let that happen? Or how could they be so stupid? They're not doing it. It's on purpose, because there's going to be some people who are going to catch on, but 99% of people won't catch on. So
I go back and forth. Like, are they that
no,
stupid? I think they are, but I think
no.
it's partially stupid. But I also think it's an intelligence test, and it's a
Yes,
revelation of the
definitely.
method. They have to always tell us what they're doing,
Yeah.
and they want to test how dumbed down we are, to see what we'll believe. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
literally laughing. They're
What they can get
laughing.
away with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to explain. I know you get asked this question all the time, but why are they lying? What's in it for them? Why do we care? I like your apartment building sort of analogy too that you do.
What's part?
Like
Which analogy is that?
about what does it matter if we're on a spinning
Oh,
ball or if we're just
okay, yeah.
stationary?
I'll talk about that. But on the frequently asked questions page, there's the why the lie, which is right there, the orange one. Why the lie? And there's great videos in there. Great videos, all of them being hidden from you on YouTube. But there's one on my channel, my DITRH channel, stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, by Laura Nina, this English woman, that just talks about how if we play on their ball field, we have to play by their ball rules. And if we play with their fiat money, they control us. And how they're diluting God and taking away your divinity by making you believe that you're an insignificant speck in an expanding universe. It's phenomenal. But the analogy that you're talking about is, I said, imagine an apartment building. It's hard to imagine. Ready? 500 miles long by 500 miles wide and 300 stories tall, taller than any building. Okay. Inside this there's national parks in there. There's malls, there's cities, there's Costco's, there's all sorts of stuff. There's even airplanes, right? They can, because
Mm.
it's 500 miles, right? And there's trains and everything, and it's actually really beautiful in there and high tech, and you can go anywhere you want, except when you get about a mile from the outside wall, there's guards there and say, no, 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 you can't go here. And you go, why? And it goes, well, there's some ice over there and some penguins, and we don't want to disturb them or pollute the ice. All right, you go back, right? But somebody says, wait a minute, there's more out there, right? And someone goes, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What do you mean it doesn't matter, right? It's like if you have a pet lion, a pet, African lion, and you have him in your quarter-acre fenced-in yard, he's not going to be happy. You put him in a 10-acre yard with a fence, he's going to pace that fence. Put him in a 500-acre farm, fenced-in area, it's probably going to be okay. He'll see the fence, he'll turn around, he'll go do something else. Put a human in something with a 25,000-mile fence. They're going to see the fence, they want to go to the other side. They want to know what's out there. Me, personally, And we don't know until we have free access of Antarctica. I think there's more land out there. I think
Mm.
there's more civilizations, more resources.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely that they're hiding something, and that yeah, because that blows up everything as far as population control. We're running out of this, we're running out of
Right.
that. It, it because that's all gone. If we all
Right.
know that there's all this expansive land um, with
So
access.
this is a map that was
I love
public
that too.
found. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it shows like 30 some odd other continents outside of the Antarctic ring. Right? So we don't even know if Antarctica is goes all the way around because we don't have access to go beyond 60 degrees south without being stopped. There's military bases. There's 8 of them that guard Antarctica, that guard all the way around.
and you said that that map was in a Hawaiian
It,
newspaper.
it was in a
I don't know.
Hawaiian newspaper in 1910, and they it was that's when it was published. So these are all of the bases controlled by the UN, and if you go out there, you will be stopped by a ship, by an airplane. And you're not allowed to independently explore Antarctica. Now you could spend 30, 40, $50,000 to go on a guided tour. They'll take you, right here, and they'll show you some penguins and some ice, and they'll kick you out.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they really care about the penguins.
Right. Well,
Weak
yeah. I
weak
mean,
argument. That
go
sounds
ahead. We
stupid.
can blow up Palestinian families, but we
Yeah,
cannot disturb the
but yeah,
penguins.
don't
Yeah,
bother the
it makes
penguins.
perfect sense. People are like, what about the Antarctic bases? They're right here. Here, there were all the bases right around the outside. We don't even know though if it's land all the way around because we don't have access. And now, if you've watched my
Yeah,
videos, we've have you looked into the Kiribati thing?
I heard you talking about it in one of your videos.
Yeah,
Yes, I just heard you. And then they renamed it
yeah. They
with an M.
renamed it. It's amazing with all the stuff that they do. And after that, we one of the things we did is we found that the Georgia Guidestones proved that the Earth is not wobbling, not moving. It absolutely proves it. And then the video started going viral. They blew up their Georgia Guidestones.
Did they
Three
really do
hours.
that? I keep
They
hearing it, but did they do it?
do
They're
what?
gone?
They blew them
I've
up.
heard that.
They
Yeah.
they blew them up, and then in 3 hours there was bulldozers there. The entire thing was taken away, and the time capsule disappeared.
I didn't hear I don't know what the time
There was
capsule
a
is. I
time
just know about the Georgia
capsule
Guidestones.
underneath the Georgia
Oh,
Guidestones.
okay. I
So
didn't know
when
about that.
you look through, there's Polaris spinning around. It's been up for over 40 years. Well, according to the heliocentric model, the Earth is wobbling, so it would have wobbled at 1 degree every 76 years. So it would have wobbled a half a degree. A half a degree is 1.5 full moon widths in the sky, and that means Polaris would no longer be in that hole. It was. Our video started going viral. The place blew up. They blew it up, and then a couple hours later, bulldozers were there. The entire thing was taken away. There was never any investigation.
So those people that live there that can verify that it's gone.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone.
We've been there. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
I never
gone.
trust anything
Yeah,
that they
no,
say.
that's a good way to be.
Okay.
But that's what we call rock solid proof, and they can't have that, right?
No.
Because the pyramid, the Great Pyramid of in Giza, has a shaft that points towards Polaris, but their excuse is, oh, when they built it, it pointed towards Thuban, but now 2,000 years later or whatever, it's pointing towards Polaris, right? So there's an argument that's stupid, but you can't prove it either
Mm.
way. It could have been, and we just happen to live in a time where it's pointing towards Polaris, and in 1,000 years it'll be pointing somewhere else. But who's going to live that long to
Right.
remember the bet? But the Guidestones were built in
Yeah.
1981.
Not
Therefore,
long
we
ago.
know, and therefore they blew them up, so it doesn't exist anymore. Isn't that amazing? No investigation. Nobody cares. Amazing.
I wondered if it was true because I've heard that a few times, but
It's true.
hadn't verified it. So I never heard this interview, which I really do. I want to hear it, but I've heard you talk about it, that you had an interview with a 102-year-old woman named Ruth.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you talk about that? And I still need to see the interview.
Well, you just go if you have my app.
Oh, you
just
have the app. Okay.
Yeah, just type in Ruth, and it comes right up on the video search.
Okay.
Or I
Okay.
type in 102-year-old, actually, I think. If I type it in now, 102 year, let's see if it comes up. Whoops, 102. So I was, my mother had, she lived in a assisted living place. She lived on her own, but then she hurt herself, and she was in the healthcare center. I was visiting her, and my mom was like 94, and so she was taking a nap, and I said to the nurse, "Is there anybody here that is over 100 that has their wits?" And they're like, "Oh, Ruth, right over there. She's sitting right there by herself, right in the
Of
cafeteria."
course.
And so here
Smart
I typed in Ruth,
people are
and
always loners, so I'm not
there she
surprised.
is,
Oh,
and I started talking to her. I'll just pull up the video. I started talking to her, and she uh, she was very she had her wits about her, and let me just see how it's. Is that a volume on here somewhere? Talking, and I asked you what did you hear
yes.
that? Shape the Earth is, and what did you say? What were you taught in school
I
in
was
elementary
taught
school?
in school that the earth was flat.
And then what do you remember when they changed it to a globe?
Well, they changed it, I remember when they changed it, but I can't remember the
Okay.
date or anything like that.
And did you believe them?
Yes, I did.
You did. Now,
I I was young.
right, and we all were told by people that we trust.
That's right.
Where did you go to school? Elementary school.
I went to Spur Glen School in Hamden, Connecticut. I lived on a farm and grew up with all kinds of
I could
animals.
play the whole thing. It's like 10 minutes long though. But basically, I wasn't even interviewing her about flat Earth. I was interviewing her about the World's Fairs,
Oh,
and I don't know if you've looked into any of that, but
no.
oh, you haven't?
Uh-uh.
My Lord, oh Lord, oh
I better
Lord.
write that down.
Okay,
World's
so
Fairs.
on my app, if you hit there's a griffin button right here. It looks like a little dragon. So you hit
Okay.
that, and this is the old world stuff on my website. If you're new to this, on my website, there's a link to this video right here. It's called Old World Order. So on my website, just flatearthdave.com,
Mm-hmm.
there's a big banner. It says Old World Order right near the top of the website. Click it, watch that video. You want to talk about a rabbit hole bigger than flat Earth? That's it. It's
Okay.
right there. Okay, and your whole life is going to change when you watch that. It's gonna be. You're gonna have a whole new. You're never gonna be able to go outside again and not go. How did I not see that? How did I not see that? It's surrounding you everywhere. Everywhere. Every city, everywhere has old world buildings in it. It's
Oh,
incredible. And when
okay.
I
I'm
say old
excited.
world, there was an advanced civilization here before us, just a couple hundred years ago, barely, right? And so the whole Wild West thing, baloney. The Wild West thing was the repopulation of the cities that were already here, right? Um, and once you start seeing that, everything changes. Everything changes. And you know, old world and flat earth are brother and sister. They're tied together. It's when
Okay.
you start looking at that, it's crazy. But so I was talking to her about the World's Fairs, and she had been to the one in New York, and she was talking about how it was all lit up. She had never seen lights. She lived on a farm with no electricity, right? But all of a sudden she goes to this World's Fair, and it's just lights everywhere, and she's like, she was blown away. And I said to her, I said, what did they teach you in school about the earth? That's all I said. And she goes, they taught me the earth was flat. And that
That's
there
good.
was our
You
conversation.
didn't lead the
And
witness. You didn't.
no, not at all. And I
Good
was like,
job.
can I record you? Can I record this? She's like, sure. And so then I record, that was me restating the question before we went any further. And basically, she's a Bible believer, and I pointed out how the Bible is all about flat Earth, and she literally starts crying. Like everyone, when this video went out, it went super viral, and every comment was, "I must have gotten something in my eye because it started leaking while I was watching this video." Right? Everyone, no one wants to admit that they're crying, but everyone that watches it cries. because she was so relieved at
Oh,
102 years old to find out that she was right her whole life, but never knew it.
oh.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
good.
got to watch that whole thing.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what's
good.
weird is if you ask Siri, I've done this. I did it today, I think. If you ask Siri, does the Bible say the earth is flat? It says no. Not that I'm
It
not that I'm
changes all the
surprised,
time.
but it's like, no, it does not say that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not
Ask
surprised they would
Siri.
lie, but
Ask Siri if uh if it says that it's a globe, and then
okay.
ask it to
Because
prove
I
it, and it won't.
heard you talking to Peggy Hall, and she said that it never says that
It
anywhere.
doesn't.
That it never says it's a
Everyone
globe anywhere.
quotes Isaiah because Isaiah says the circle of the earth. The definition of a circle is a line on a plane, which is a flat surface, where all of the points on the line are equidistant from a center point. That's a circle. A sphere is completely different.
Does it say it's a sphere though?
It,
It does.
there's other areas in the Bible that do talk about it being a, I think they use the word sphere or ball or something like that, but they know the difference between a circle and a three-dimensional spherical thing.
Hmm. They do a lot of things to reinforce it, just in pop culture, like the Harlem Globetrotters, and like there was a soap opera, As the World Turns, and like
Yeah,
there's always like these things that are trying
right.
to
Yeah,
get you to
like
believe it.
Universal Pictures. Universal Pictures had the spinning globe before NASA ever went up.
Hmm. Wasn't what was the MTV? Wasn't it a globe in the beginning of
Right.
MTV when you turn
Universal
MTV on?
Pictures. This was in 1927. They had a perfect model of the Earth before NASA went up and showed them what it looked like. And then when NASA did it, it looked just like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then you point out how the astronauts have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, right?
Yep.
Why would that be?
Well, because they're actronauts.
Right.
Right. You know, it's when people when you're talking flat earth with somebody, if they're listening and they're able to, okay, you've knocked down my belief in seasons, because seasons are absolutely prove the earth is flat. So you take away two or three or four of their former fake beliefs in the globe religion, and you turn them then they finally throw up their hands and they go, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday, right? And that's when you got them. And you say it does make a difference, because how can you live to your full potential if you think that you're an insignificant speck, not near the center of creation, in a godless or deluded God world, a universe expanding into nothingness, right? They say that the universe space is expanding into more space. What does that mean? At like 1 billion miles an hour. What? It's so stupid, right? And they say when you're looking at a star, well, that star isn't really there anymore. It could have burned out 1 billion years ago, right? You know, they say the universe is like 13 billion years
Oh,
old,
13.
right?
That
Is
number
it?
comes up, right?
Yeah.
No, I just mean they always love 13. They
Yeah.
use 13 a lot.
So think about this. Nothing exploded, became everything, and then all of this matter started forming into moons and planets, and gas decided to collapse upon itself instead of expand like it always does. Weird. Um, and so all of these solar systems and galaxies have to organize over billions and billions and billions of years. However, we can look at a galaxy. NASA goes, oh, we're looking back at that galaxy. It's 20 billion years, 20 20 billion light years away or something like that. You know, like, wait a minute, that's older than the universe. Wait, if we're seeing back that far in time, how is there an organized galaxy already? Right?
Mm.
The numbers are just, it's so stupid that people just, they lose their mind and like, well, you know, I don't have a degree in this. I'm not good at that math. Right? They've never taught us about large numbers. Did you ever learn about large numbers?
I don't
Did you ever
know.
hear me talk about a trillion? What a trillion is?
I think I heard, yeah, you were asking Carrie Madej
How
about,
long is a
yeah,
trillion seconds? It's
and
31,000
uh,
years.
yeah, that's 13 backwards, so that's probably why they came up with that one.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but a
But
trillion, no, a
yeah.
trillion seconds is
Uh,
31,000 years. And they say that the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. So we're traveling at a mile per second for 31,000 years. We're only 1/25th of the way to the closest star. So we do that 24 more times, 31,000 years times 24. You know what? I'll borrow a rocket from Elon. It goes 100,000 miles an hour. It'll only take us 28,000 years to get there. And then when we get there, we go, huh, no life on these planets. Let's go to the next star. And that's like 100 times farther. Okay? So what that's just diluting God's creation. That's what it is. All and then there's actually just featured a video on the app yesterday, and it's in the archive for anyone that didn't see it. Next to the featured video every day on the app, right here is the featured video, but right here is the archive, and you can go back all the way back to 2018 and watch them organized by month. There's a new video series about how it's impossible to see stars and planets at the sizes and brightness that they tell us. It's absolutely physically impossible to see them, and he literally lays it out for you in understandable terms.
Yeah, I think most people just believe it just because they believe. It doesn't, no one's really done any looking into it. No one's, decided this makes sense or doesn't make sense. It's just, and maybe an emotional attachment to the whole thing too. I guess I don't know. I found out I'm the kind of person who can detach from things easily. I guess it's not that common. I mean, I know a lot of us are like that, but it's not that common. Like a lot of people hold on to things really tightly.
People have beliefs and they love clinging to their beliefs. Like here's one that'll freak out half of your listeners right now. Nuclear bombs do not exist.
Yes, I already believe that too.
Yeah,
I heard
it's not about
Tom
believing. A belief is the enemy of knowing. Crow 777 Radio says that. And on my website, flatearthdave.com, there's a banner, nuclear bomb banner. Click it. There's a series of audio podcasts. Pop in your earphones, go for a bike ride, do a workout, go do whatever you do. Listen to them, and then you will know that nuclear bombs don't exist. You won't believe it, you'll know it. Belief. Where do I live? Connecticut. You believe that. Do you know it?
Mm, I don't know. It's a weird question.
Well, I live in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Do you believe it?
Oh, because I trust you, I believe it. That's the.
Okay, but do you know it?
I guess
Would
it's not.
you bet your life on it?
I don't know. I don't know if I bet my life on it.
Okay, because you
I believe
don't
you, though.
know it.
I
But
believe
you could verify it, but it would take
Yes.
you time and effort.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be rich? Invent something that makes people lazier.
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have kids,
I have
married, or anything?
two kids.
Okay, you
I'm
have two
divorced.
kids. So you make them dinner? You make them dinner ever?
I've made my daughter dinner. Yeah.
You've made it. So you have to go shopping. You have to get the food. You have to prepare the food. You have to cook the food. You have to serve the dinner. Then you have to clean up the plates and everything and the pots and the pans, right? What's easier than that? Fast food's easier than that. Go out, get it, eat it, throw it in the garbage. You're done. What's easier than that? DoorDash makes you even lazier.
Oh, I
You don't
know.
even have
It's
to go out and get it.
awful. It's
Right.
awful.
But these are multi-billion-dollar companies because people are looking for the easy way out. And it's easier to believe in ball religion than it is to actually look and think. And you know what? People are like, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I don't give a crap.
That's the problem too.
Yeah,
That's
I don't give a crap
problem.
what people think about me.
I don't either.
It's what I think about me.
Thank you.
That's what matters.
Exactly.
It's what I think about me.
That's exactly right.
And if you think I'm crazy, I don't care about you.
No.
I really don't care what you think. Take a hike.
I don't either. That was like 4 years ago. Like I have to live with myself. Like I don't care if I lose. I mean, it's gonna suck, but if I lose every friend I have, I don't care.
I lost some friends.
I have to live with me every day.
My brother and sister, they're not. They're so blue pilled. It's insane. They can't even see weather manipulation, and so
you
we
guys
don't talk.
be close? Oh, you don't talk at all?
It's unfortunate. We don't talk at all because like we used to have Thanksgiving together, and we will talk about the weather. You can't even talk about the weather anymore. I can't even do that because it's all made up. It's all manipulated.
You'd have to fake talk about the weather.
You'd have to fake talk about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, sports. I don't even watch any sports anymore, and sports are all so fixed too. Okay?
I know.
It's
I follow
crazy.
Coincidence Yoey.
It's crazy.
You follow Coincidence Yoey or Joey of Truth? Do you follow him? No.
Never heard of him. Right.
He talks all about that. That's his whole thing.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's not his whole thing, but he opened my eyes to all that too. So,
So it's unfortunate. It's like I don't talk to them because we have nothing to talk about. And if we did start talking
mm,
about something, it would probably end up in a fight, and then we would be fighting. At least we're not fighting.
I
We're just not talking.
guess
It's
that's too
horrible.
bad. Now, what
But
about your wife though?
she's
So, like,
she's
you
totally
came
on
around.
board.
I know I've heard you say that, but like, did did you have to like convince her a little bit, like say 10 years ago or whenever? Or
So we met 18 years ago on Halloween, actually, at a Halloween
oh,
party. And
happy
we were
anniversary,
both, thank you.
almost.
We were both reading The Power of Now. And then we
Oh,
just were talking to each other and we're like, yeah, I'm reading this book. And like we're both reading the same book. So that was like boom.
wow.
And then so all these synchronicities happened. And I actually believe that she didn't exist before that party and I manifested her out of the ether. All right. And you can't prove me wrong. All right. But there's no possible way that just this random person that is so perfect for me showed up out of nowhere when I wasn't even looking. It was crazy. It was
That's
crazy. But
amazing. So
yeah, yeah.
you guys had like a meeting of the minds right from the beginning. So you didn't,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we both kind of woke up to flat Earth and everything else together. And, we're always it definitely keeps life interesting, because every day I always say every day, usually before 8 a.m. I have my mind blown every single day because I'm up early and I'm doing stuff and there's always something new. You're learning new stuff every day.
yep,
It's amazing.
yeah. I think to admit to yourself that you don't, and I've heard you say things like that too, like to just say, I don't really know a lot.
Yeah.
Like even though you do know a lot, but that's how you learn more. Like you don't have all the answers, but you have all the questions. So keep asking questions.
There's
That,
it goes on and on. I mean, just everything they teach us, nuclear bombs keep us scared. Like if you believe nuclear bombs are real and don't really think about it, it's fine. And then you're listening to the news or you see an article, it's like, oh, Putin this and North Korea, they could start a nuclear war. Even if you ignore it, every cell in your body is now at dis-ease, if you will. Right. And so you literally have that tension in your body, which isn't good. It's not good. Now, when I
no,
hear them say nuclear bombs, I see like a clown wig and a clown nose, and I giggle. I laugh. I mean, I don't watch the
I
news.
don't
I
either.
rarely at all. Occasionally, I turn it on just to see what the comedy is, and it literally makes me laugh. I'm just like, wow, and people believe this. It's amazing.
Oh, one of
It's
the
amazing.
best things you could ever do for yourself is stop watching that. Like
Yeah,
I
I always
pretty much
say
don't watch TV at all for the last 4.5 years.
the
Four
news
plus,
gives
yeah.
you the C word.
Oh, yes. Yes, I know what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The scamdemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They give you that or cancer. Okay,
mm,
I mean that's literally it's your thought. You've heard that people were diagnosed with cancer that didn't have cancer and then they died, and then they found out they never had cancer. Right? It's the power of your mind is far far beyond anything that they teach us, and they don't want us to understand how powerful our minds are in creation.
no, they definitely don't. I know we only have, I'll leave like, I wonder if people have questions. If
Yeah,
anybody,
wait, no, we got a little time.
I would, yeah,
We're
we
good.
got 15 minutes
Okay,
or
does this
just
thing
under.
turn off at an hour?
Yes,
Or? It does.
unfortunately. I
Amazing.
know, because I only have 500 followers. I think you have to have 1,000 to
Oh,
go over an hour.
okay.
But anybody who is watching that doesn't follow me,
Yeah.
please follow.
Is this
I'm
recorded afterwards
yes,
where I can share it? All right, make
yes,
sure you send
I'll
me a
send it to
link.
you.
Send me
Yes,
a link. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I'm so
So
glad
there's
I,
also, there's like they wanted you to believe that free energy doesn't exist. Free energy is everywhere. In the 70s, they were building cars that run on water. And then those people just, they had heart attacks and got poisoned and died, you know?
I think I saw the meme about that. I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't remember the gentleman's name, but yeah.
I mean, there's healing machines. This machine right here is crazy. Tesla coil. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and it does amazing, amazing things. So it's everywhere. You just have to open up and let this stuff come into your life.
Yes. Does anybody have questions for Dave? But I'll just while we're waiting, like, what about the emergency plane
Yeah.
landings?
Yeah.
That's a solid argument. But
Emergency plane landings are my favorite, but some of the southern flight routes are amazing. There's one from Argentina, from New Zealand to Argentina. So let me show you this flight route. So it goes from the bottom corner there, from New Zealand. It goes all the way up to San Francisco, and then over to Houston, Texas. Is that backwards for you? I'm seeing it backwards.
Yeah, it's back.
It is backwards for you? How do I flip
Yeah.
that around?
I don't know if you can. I don't think you can.
Okay, well,
But that's okay.
whatever. It
Yeah.
goes from all the way down here. It goes all the way up across. So it's crossing the equator, right? When they should just go from here to there. That would be the shortest route
On a
right
globe.
there. But it goes all the way up, right? But on a flat Earth, there's the route. It's a straight line. Okay.
Yeah.
Explain that, Globy. And the only explanation they have is they go, oh well, the pilots have a hub in Houston and San Francisco, so they fly up there to change pilots. Wait a minute. You went 3 times the distance to change pilots when people wanted to go from destination A to B? It's crazy.
No.
And then the emergency landings, where an emergency happens and they land in an airport like 1,500 miles away. They get there in 10 minutes. How did they do that? And then you look at it on a flat Earth map. It's right there underneath them. It's right in the path that they were taking.
Yes. I think I heard you interviewing, when I was listening to you a year and a half ago, a pilot or two. I feel like.
Oh, I have a whole bunch of pilots, like
I need to hear more of
that talk to me. And they're talking, they know there's so many pilots now that know the Earth is flat. Other pilots just don't think. They just follow their instructions. Pilots are in charge of takeoff, get up to altitude, and then landing. And one of the things is, the other day I was on a flight coming home from Mexico, or going to Mexico, and the pilot goes, "We're about 300 miles from our destination. We're gonna start descending in about 20 minutes." And I'm like, or a half hour, whatever he said. And I did the calculation. So the descent was gonna start at 125 miles out. So there's a thing called rate of descent. So they're at 30,000 feet. They got to get to the airport, and they know that they're 125 miles out. They got to drop an X number of feet per minute to get to the airport. The problem is, at 125 miles out, if you do your rate of descent based on a flat Earth, you get there correctly, but on a globe, you'd be 2 miles too high. 2 miles? Yeah. 2 miles high.
You did the math? Yeah. You figured that out quickly?
Yeah, you'd be.
I couldn't have done that.
At 125 miles, there's 2 miles of curvature, right? But they never calculate for that. They never account for that. Now, the globe explanation is, well, as you go, the plane keeps tilting. So when you're flying an airplane, they say that the plane flies with a nose up a little bit, which it does. So the air must be curved so it could keep its nose up relative to the ground, but go over the earth. Not nonsense. Airplanes fly straight and level. The SR-71 Blackbird goes, 2,300 miles per hour. It would have to drop 80 stories a second to follow the curve. That's faster than free fall. If you dropped a bowling ball out of an 80-story window, it would take like 5 seconds to hit the ground. But that airplane, with its wings, has to drop 80 stories a second to follow the Earth curve, right?
Ridiculous.
And those planes can't turn left, right, up, or down when they're going full speed because they're going so fast, right? So when you start putting that together and understanding what it means, there's no other explanation. And now there's the SR-72 that supposedly goes 4,000 miles an hour. Rounding down in favor of the Earth, it would have to drop at a mile per second just to follow the curve. The Earth would curve away at a mile per second, and somehow that thing is finding curved air to go. The pilot would be plastered against the ceiling if it was doing that.
It's just ridiculous.
It's all ridiculous. It's the dumbest crap ever.
Okay, we got a couple minutes. Somebody's asking about the North Pole, to ask you about the North Pole.
Yeah, the North Pole is the center of the Earth, right? The North Pole's right here, and it has it's magnetic. So the sun and the moon and everyone that circumnavigates goes around east or west. And your compass will point towards the center. Get a magnet, put it on a table, a big neodymium magnet. Get a compass and put it down on the table. The compass will point towards that magnet. Try to push that compass east or west. and maintain that heading of 270 or 90, and it'll make a perfect circle around the compass. It'll make a perfect circle, and you'll maintain that setting. Go right back to where you started from. Billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. 0 have done it south. No one's ever gone from Santiago across Antarctica and shown up in Australia, because you can't, because the Earth is flat. When you go south from Santiago, you don't magically show up here. You just go south.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
east and so that's how a compass works. Compasses don't even work in Antarctica because you're too far away from the center, too far away from the magnetic north.
I know. I also liked what Peggy Hall said when she said, why are they doing this? And she said, because also it gets you to not trust your own senses. Like,
Right.
these things make a lot of sense, but if you deny it, then I think you just spiral
It
with
takes
all
you
these other
off
stupid
kilter.
things they
Take a
tell you.
child who knows everything's stationary, knows that the water's level, everything. You go, oh no, we're spinning, we're moving, we're doing this, and it gets the child never to trust themselves. We have
Right.
God-given senses. We have more than 5
Intuition too.
senses, right? And they just teach us to ignore it and not to just ignore our senses. It makes no sense.
Yep.
Ignore our senses makes no sense. It's
Oh, but
nonsense. Nonsense.
that sounded like, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Like something like that. Nope. Listen to what the teacher says. The teacher knows. You don't.
I
Yeah.
questioned my teacher in like first grade when they brought us outside and spun water around in a bucket and said, that's gravity. And I said, wouldn't the water have to be on the outside of the bucket? Because the globe is doing that around the sun. The water's on the outside. And the teacher goes like this and brings over the book, lots of highlights in there. And he goes, this, and he reads me the sentence. And he goes, this is how they tell us to teach it. So that's how I'm going to teach it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go play on the swing. And I went and
Yeah.
played on the swing. Yep.
Just go in the sandbox or something.
Yeah,
Dave.
go. Basically, that's what he said. And and that was like 40 years later. Here I am, talking about that. It's a little crazy.
Oh my gosh. I just want to make sure it doesn't get cut off.
We've
Well,
got 3.5 minutes.
couple minutes. What do I want to ask you that you can answer quickly? I just look at things that, whatever they put on TV. I mean, sometimes there's truth in TV, but sometimes they're doing it because it's propaganda. So like the Big Bang Theory show and, this is
the Big
propaganda.
Bang is creation,
Yeah.
right? If you look at the story of the Big Bang, once there was a Big Bang, there is the explosion, a spark. That's when fertilization happens, right? And then evolution, that's the baby growing. Basically, it's the story of birth, the whole universe, and they've dragged it out for billions of years. It's amazing. It's the same story. And then you look at the sun, the SON and the SUN. They're both the same, right? The sun goes south and it dies on the 21st of December, lays dead for 3 days, and then it was resurrected on the 25th.
Yeah.
And it starts coming back,
Yeah.
right?
Crazy.
It's not crazy. It's amazing. And when you wake up to this, your life changes forever, and it's changed mine in such great ways. It's amazing. Go to my website,
Yes.
flatearthdave.com. Watch Old World Order. If you don't want to look into Flat Earth, start with Old World Order because that's going to bring you right into Flat Earth. Check out the nuclear bomb hoax. Check out the crash course, and check out my app if you really want the tons of information at your fingertips.
Yeah. Yes. I think Dave is amazing. You're really smart. You're quick on your feet. You're entertaining. I liked your energy. That was one thing I really liked about you when I started listening to you. I'm like, I could listen to you all day long. You're funny. So I really, really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you too.
It was been the most popular interview I've had so far. So I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you, of course.
Please do. Thanks so much. Have a great
Dave.
night. See
ya. You too. Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye.